Good morning again. In my, I just did this last question and answer video. I told you that I was going to do one on a healing crisis, and this is the most understood part of getting well, and I really don't know any other word to use for it. I've thought years of trying to find another word that would explain it. Healing crises. But that's about as accurate as we could come up with, I suppose, through the years. If you'll notice that most healing crises are simple, cold and flu-like symptoms. Now, cold and flu have always been called diseases, and you notice there's no cure for them because there is no disease to it. You notice those same symptoms match detox symptoms. You know, I was born and raised in Indiana, and we had farms and stuff. We always drank milk. And I always stopped up. I needed nose drops to breathe. I always had a lot of mucus problems, stuff like this. And they used to say, don't go out in the winter. They used to say, don't go out in the cold, you'll catch a cold. Well, bacteria really doesn't like to live well under 40 degrees. So I always wondered, what are you talking about, catching a cold? But sure enough, you know, I'd get all, congested and stuff. And until I became a chemist, that I realized that cold is alkaline. And alkaline creates a cationic experience or environment in the body that starts to detox. You see it in the ER a lot when someone comes in, a lot of congestion from dairy products and stuff, and they become lungers with this. They go on an IV drip of normal saline, and then they get pneumonia. They don't catch pneumonia, but this cationic solution begins to break up solidified mucus. It begins to detoxify the human body. That's just what chemo and other things should be, is alkalizing the human body. Because then you're going to see this cationic experience, because all diseases, if I can use that word, which I hate it because it's no such thing, but most symptoms are an anionic experience or a dehydrated, thickened mucus, inflammatory problem. So this one letter I've got, this lady was a spinal bifida case, born without L4, L5. On 3 years of raw food, she grew back L4, L5. Pretty cool, huh? She's done a lot of great things, and she just done another detoxification. She says, I have to tell you, detoxification is as much as spiritual as it is physical. It's emotional healing as well. It's a journey of total healing. I'm being set free. The first 6 weeks were hard to get through, with fevers every 3 days, rashes, ugly rashes on hands, feet, and neck, but then I have a lot of issues. The 8th and 9th week, fever not as often, then came the abscessed teeth. I made it through that too. What's next? And so she's done well through the years. Heavy lymphatic problems, things like this, I think I was telling you I had a pancreatic cancer case, and in her journey, she was an extreme pancreatic cancer case, degenerative pancreatic cancer. She ate an apple, she pooped an apple. There was no digestion left. It wasn't a tumor. And this is the worst kind of cancer, is when your cells are literally breaking down in the tissues, and there's no function left. So I took her out of the house. She had children and a family, and I put her in a hammock reading spiritual books down at the ocean, and I gave her only fruits and fruit juices predominantly, and herbs, because she wasn't digesting anything. I had to get energy and chemistry as much as I could in there in its simplest form, and keep her putting her energy from her selfish soul into her body while I was rebuilding the tissue. That's the value of herbs in these extreme cases. So one day she came in and she started growing these golf ball sized tumors all over her legs. Her oncologist said, honey, your cancer spread all through you, and you don't have long to live now. And I love when they say that. And so she came in my office again crying, and I said, he's full of crap. You're in a healing crisis. And sure enough, the weeks out, she had over 50 tumors on both legs. And then a couple of weeks out, I kept her pushing detox, raw, moving that out, high fruits. And in 2 weeks, there was no tumors left on the legs. Then a few weeks later, she came in. She said, how you been doing? She says, real well. She said, I've been to the dentist. I had a loose tooth. They pulled it out, and I've got another one over here. They're going to pull that out. And I said, no, you're in a healing crisis. And by the week's end, she had 7 abscesses and all her teeth were loose. And so I kept pushing her through this, and a couple of more weeks, all the gums had locked down, back down on the teeth, no abscesses, and she went on to another healing crisis. I've had blindness in healing crisis. I had paralysis during healing crisis. And I mentioned a few in these videos as we've come down. But old injuries come back. I remember I had a head-on car crash once and really tore the top of my head. And it always was tender, meaning it didn't heal well. Well, you were all working on our lymph systems, of course. And so when I got into the raw, boy, I tell you what, I started hurting just like I had the accident. And so that healed up and never had a problem since. And I've seen that through these years in all these cases. Old injuries. And I've told you in a video yesterday about a quad that had severe scoliosis and a fractured femur that after 12 years realigned itself, pulled the back straight. I mean, these are neat healing crises. Healing crisis can be very painful. It can be not so painful. A lot of mucus coming out, mucus in the stools, mucus in the urine, mucus vaginally, mucus out of the nose, mouth. These are all healing crises. What's in, the body wants out when it is acidic and obstructive to itself. It'll pull out old things that are stuck in the body, splinters, things like this. It's neat to see what the body will do in detoxifying itself. When you're in a healing crisis, I highly recommend you stay on nothing but fruit, if not fasting on water, especially light fruit meals. And you can take herbs during it, or you don't have to take herbs during it, but rest. Let your body take all that energy that you use to walk, to talk, to digest your foods. Let your body have that energy to clean and heal itself, because that's its job. This is an intelligent, although mundane and very physical entity, and it can repair itself quite nicely, I will tell you. And when you get up in these high levels of fruitarianism, you'll heal so fast you can't believe it. You can cut yourself and not even feel it. It won't bleed, and it'll be gone the next day. That's rapid healing. And when I was at that level, I knew that you could repair anything on this planet, anything man suffers with, if you get them up high enough on these magnetics and in these rich nutritional foods of fruits, berries, and melons. There's nothing the body can't cure itself. Even when it's down toward the lower realms of hell almost, you know. So important to understand these healing crises. It's not difficult. Rashes are very common, especially with a lot of fungus and stuff. You can have hives and rashes all through you. And if you have hives and rashes, that's your lymph system. That's not your blood. You don't have some mysterious autoimmune crap. That's all crap. You have lymphatic stagnation problems. Your adrenals are weak. Your kidneys aren't filtering your lymph system. Work on those things and all that will go away. Psoriasis, eczema, rosacea. All this is lymph. Remember, lymph deals with the acid side, and your skin is your third kidney, and your kidneys are your eliminative organs for your sewer system. That's what poisons and toxins are. They come from the cells. They're cell poop. So remember, you have 100 trillion cells head to toe that eat and poop. And you don't poop in your kitchen. You have a separate, distinct sewer system for this problem. And detoxification is aimed at that system. Because when you clean that system, it'll clean the spleen, it'll clean the liver, and then that'll in turn clean the blood. So it's pretty cool to see all that and to go through all that. The healing crises are important if you're in one that lasts too long. Healing crisis can be a couple of hours, a couple of days, or they can go real long. And if you're doing fruits and vegetables, you can hold a healing crisis there for weeks. You got to either go up or break it all together and eat some cooked food. And that's how interesting cooked food is that it'll stop the body from healing itself. But in extreme cases, sometimes I've had to do that because the client couldn't take anymore, you know. Sometimes it'll rat you out if it's too painful and there's just too much misery involved in the body pulling this rancid stuff out of itself.